right, guys, welcome back to another video. Hope everyone had a great week, and we are starting off this week's news talking about Concord, guys. Concord has been released and it has been an abysmal failure, an absolute failure of a release in terms of the player counts and people jumping in on Steam from the numbers that we have seen. And even on PlayStation, I don't think it is faring very much better. But we have that plus many other things to talk about. If you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit the like button on the video. Also check out my Spotify, link is in the description. So Concord, it got released, and like pretty much there was no fanfare at all for this game. We kind of saw the writing on the wall leading up to its release, although the beta numbers for this game crazily had bigger numbers than the actual release of Concord. So it is just a situation that is not looking good whatsoever for PlayStation. Now, to be fair, it's only been out about a couple of days now. So can they turn this around? Very, very doubtful. But the player numbers so far have just been very bad, and this is going to hurt PlayStation for the amount of development time that they have put in on this game. I think they've taken like 8 years or something crazy like that to develop it. It was supposed to be their big multiplayer games as a service banger that kept money flowing in over long periods of time and people continuously playing the game over long periods of time. But here we are, and this is one of the worst releases in recent history for a big budget game like this. This here says that PlayStation's Concord can't even reach 1,000 Steam players at launch. And in fact, it is worse than that. They're saying here that both Helldivers 2 and Concord are first-party multiplayer games that came to PC the same day as PS5, but their stories couldn't be more different. Helldivers 2 launched as the talk of the town with well over 400,000 players. And we did see that on Steam. That was huge. But Concord, meanwhile, despite launching at the same price as Arrowhead's mega hit, has come out with little fanfare, and it can't even break 1,000 players on Steam. In fact, you're looking at some of the numbers here. The all-time peak for the 24-hour release of it was 697 players. And if you do some comparisons here, the worst game of 2023 that literally everybody was talking about was The Lord of the Rings Gollum. And that only had 758 players, but that is still more than Concord, which is just crazy to think that a huge release here from PlayStation that is supposed to be something that is bringing in people to play on the PlayStation Network, to play multiplayer, is releasing like this. PlayStation basically sent this game out to die. I mean, the marketing wasn't really there, although they had spots and everything and they did show it off. But the writing was absolutely on the wall. This was one of those games that needed to be delayed and it needed to be released at a different time, and a brand new strategy needed to be implemented here. One of the major things I think that is wrong with Concord, of course, is the $40 that they are charging for this game. If this was a free-to-play game, there probably would have been more people playing it. In the era that we're in within video games, multiplayer games like this, people aren't paying full price for these games or even paying half price for these games. They're expecting them to come out with their free-to-play model with the battle passes and all of that stuff. Whether you're a fan of that or not, that's just kind of the way that these multiplayer games are going nowadays. You're not paying for the package and getting everything in there. So Concord is a failure right now. I don't think there's a chance that this will be able to turn around. This is one of the worst launches that we have seen in the history of video games, from the amount of development time and the amount of first party resources that have been put into this game, and being obviously backed by PlayStation, being a first party studio. You just wouldn't have really expected this to happen, but here we are. Now, when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro, it looks like it was just open here at Gamescom, an open secret at Gamescom 2024. We know that just came around, and we got some cool, interesting announcements from Gamescom 2024. But it says here, the existence of the PS5 Pro was long discussed throughout 2024 thanks to various leaks and rumors, but the latest state of play that aired in late May didn't feature any announcement for the hardware. And in a recent live stream, the Italian website Multiplayer mentioned that it had heard from a developer that they had delayed their game due to the upcoming launch of the PlayStation 5 Pro. And it says here, I can confirm that I heard something similar during one of my appointments at Gamescom 2024. So everyone knows that this console is out there. Everybody knows that it is going to be getting released this year. It's August right now. They haven't announced it. So I wonder exactly when they're going to be releasing it. It's probably going to be an announcement and then a quick release, maybe a month later or something along those lines. But you have developers you're waiting for it to be able to put their games on it. But from what we know about the PlayStation 5 Pro is that it has a bigger GPU, about a 45% performance improvement, but only about a 10% boost or along those lines for the CPU itself. I think the major thing here for the PlayStation 5 Pro that developers are going to try to take advantage of is going to be that software side stuff, the PlayStation Machine Learning, the PSSR, which is something that I think will be very important going forward for the future of console gaming, and being able to utilize this stuff to keep the prices of the consoles in the console range, in the $400 to $500 range. The question is, how much are they going to be releasing the PS5 Pro? Is it going to be over $500? Is it going to be $550, $600? We will see, because right now we're at a point where the main consoles out right now have not reduced in price. They are still at their asking price from the beginning of this generation, with that sales that come on every once in a while. But with the fact that those prices have not decreased, and I don't really see them decreasing even when the PS5 Pro comes out, they may have to go up even higher, and that will have an effect on the amount of people that do buy this console. I don't think the PS5 Pro will be a major seller. I don't think it's going to push the needle too much. I think it's just there to kind of give a refresh, and they're just continuing what they did with the PlayStation 4 generation as we sit here and wait a couple more years until we get the next generation of hardware and consoles. So we'll see when they do announce this, but I have a feeling it's going to be kind of underwhelming from what people are hoping for when it comes to a pro version of the console itself. Now we have an interesting story here. Crash Bandicoot 5 was potentially canceled in favor of a live service game. So this is the report. This says, according to a new report from gaming historian Liam Robertson, the game, which was in the very early stages of production, was canceled following what Activision considered as muted sales for Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. And they say around the same time, it claimed Activision shot down pitches for other sequels to single-player titles such as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And that's a shame, because I really hope now that Activision is under Xbox that more of these types of projects do get greenlit. A new Tony Hawk, more remakes of Tony Hawk's, a new Crash, a new Spyro, all of that stuff. I hope these games do get greenlit. And from right now where we are, Toys for Bob is a phenomenal developer that Xbox and Microsoft allowed to go independent, but they signed that working relationship, I guess you could call it, agreement with them to work with Xbox to create games. So it could definitely happen from Toys for Bob, but even if it's not them that makes more of these games, I would love to see Xbox invest and just give us some more smaller games, some AA games, and just jump into that back catalog. Bring these games out and make sure that it's not just all about Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. That was one of my biggest hopes when this deal did get approved, that they would move away from some of the ways that Activision does do their business. Because obviously Call of Duty brings in all of the money, but there's definitely a crowd out there for all the other stuff that is under them. But Crash Bandicoot 5 apparently was scrapped here for live service and games like continuing to add on to the Call of Duty franchise. Now, if you've been watching Gamescom, or if you did watch Gamescom and you're wondering how well it did, how many people actually tuned into this show, it says here that Gamescom Open Night Live delivered more than 40 million views. That is 2 times that of 2023. So it is growing, and Jeff Keighley continuously is delivering on these shows in terms of getting people to jump in, get excited, and watch it. And if you're asking, well, why does he charge so much money for trailers on the Gamescom Open Night Live or any of his shows? It's because of the amount of people that tune in to the shows. If people stop tuning in, he wouldn't be able to charge those numbers, but because he gets those big game announcements, people are tuning in. But it says here, Gamescom 2024 had 335,000 visitors this year from 120 countries, up from 320,000 in 2023. And Opening Night Live show delivered more than 40 million video views, double that of 2023. So it means next year is going to be even bigger. And those prices for the advertising on his show are going to be just as high, if not even a bit higher, when he's able to show off that this many people are watching those shows. I thought the show was okay. It was kind of boring at times. I think there's too much crammed into it and a lot of stuff that people probably don't care too much about, but it is what it is. It was not the worst Jeff Keighley show that has ever happened. All right, jumping over here, Deadlock has been officially revealed, or Valve has come out and they have lifted the so-called ban, I guess you could call it, to not talk about it publicly. There was a major controversy around this when the version Tom Warren did leak it, and to me, there was no NDA signed. You could actually click past that screen without agreeing. It all comes down to a moral decision as to whether you wanted to talk about it online or not. And I mean, I would not have done it, but we have seen so many worse things with real NDAs that have been signed and people leaking games and hardware and all of that type of stuff. It happens all the time. And I feel like if it was a Ubisoft game or an EA game, nobody would have cared about that initial showing of the game. But now we don't have to worry about that anymore because Valve has come out and said that you can talk about it publicly. And here's what we know about Deadlock. It's been officially revealed: 6v6 third-person hero shooter plus MOBA. And you can check out some of the gameplay here. It looks like it is pretty cool. There's invites to get into this, and I think it's pretty easy to get in. It says here you have to push through enemy lanes to reach their base. You fight boss and other players to earn currency. You buy upgrades mid-match. And currently it's in closed play tests with invite codes only. And like I said, I think it's pretty easy to get in. So if you do want to get into this closed beta, I think you should have no problem. There was 20K people playing it before they had opened it up to everybody or to be able to talk about it. So it wasn't really a game that was hidden or unknown. It was just a game that Valve wanted you to keep your lips sealed, at least for now. So now everyone can talk about it and discuss what they like and dislike about the game itself. Now, if you're looking for sales, huge sales right now with the Xbox Gamescom 2024 sale. So I just like bringing these up because some people don't end up catching them before they're gone. So go check this out right now if you're looking to save a bunch of money on games that you do want to play. And there's some backwards compatible stuff. There's some stuff that obviously is out on the current consoles. So just go check out all those deals. You can see you're up to 90% off. And there's a lot of cheap games for like $1, $2, $5, just to bolster your collection if you do want to continue to add games to your digital collection. Okay, now let's talk here about Fable, because Fable, looks like there is another studio that is assisting Fable in development, and this is Third Kind Games. Now, Third Kind Games, if we do take a look at their projects, it is kind of interesting in this, maybe signaling something, but it may just be absolutely nothing just because they've worked with Xbox before, so they know them and they like the work that they do. But they have previously worked on Sea of Thieves, and if you click here, you can kind of see what type of work they did do on Sea of Thieves. In fact, Colt Eastwood posted this under Clobrill's post, and it says that they ported games to the PlayStation 5. They ported Sea of Thieves to the PlayStation 5. They helped them with that development. So is that hinting that Fable is also going to the PS5? Maybe, maybe not, because they also worked on Forza Horizon 4, which is not on the PlayStation 5. So they just is a development team that Xbox knows they're happy with. That's kind of how these things do end up working, where if they've done good work in the past, you're going to go back to them because you kind of know what you are going to be getting. But it's just another game development here assisting in Fable's development, which either way, no matter where it releases, game looks phenomenal from what we have seen so far. A game that I'm extremely excited for, as I am a fan of the Fable franchise. But that's it for me, guys. I am going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.